Kenya fires back after Martha Karua has been denied a practicing license in Uganda. Martha Karua, who was said to be the lead lawyer in Besigye's case, has been denied a temporary practicing license by the Law Society of Uganda. In this video, tugenda kuba twogera ku bintu bibiri. Tugenda kubeera twogera ku speech ya president gye yakoze nga a meeting y'abakulembeze aba oludda oluvuganya ab'enjawulo muli Jeno Mugisha Muntu, Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, kusa n'abakulembeze abalala Win Chiza. Ne speech ya president gye yakoze yaweereza a very strong warning eri Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the dictator. In the turn of events, omusango gwa Besigye fena twagwogerako wano ku channel. Ne tulaba how it all happened. Atalaba nja kusaba wayo obudde ogenda olabe video eyo. Besigye yakwatibwa okuva e Kenya, yawambibwa okusikukwata, yawambibwa okuva e Kenya mu ngeri eririgo n'avugibwa n'ayingizibwa Uganda. Nawe twali wano ne tukkiriziganya nti Besigye is a civilian just like you. Gwanaba nze subira mu namajje kubanga alaba video yange wabanga jali well and good. Information yena atijimpa naye yizo muyamba kwezi naye ayinza okera olunaku olumu ng'olitali yalinze nga major of them ate ne obaawo omusango gukuteekebwako n'obeera tried in the court martial ekitali kituufu. Twakkiriziganya nti Besigye is a civilian just like you. Tagwana kutrayingibwa mu kooti y'amagye. In a turn of events, Besigye aliweebwa eddembe lyonna okubeera nga appointing lead counsel oba appointing counsel of choice. Counsel inaina agenda okumuwolereza mu musango ogwo. Ya appointing Martha Karua. Martha Karua y'omu ku ba politicians abagundivu era abalawyer ab'amaanyi e Kenya. In a turn of events, yamiddwa practicing license by the Uganda Law Society. Tugenda kuba tulaba Uganda Law Society no reasons zewadde mu kumumma. Bagamba the Uganda Law Society, not society, Law Council. Forgive me, wherever I said society, it has to be council. The Uganda Law Council has denied Martha Karua a temporarily practicing license, citing her application as politically motivated. She was set to lead the defense of Dr. Besigye and Obed Lutale in the court martial. Katufune video ya Martha Karua kati ntukomeo.
Tomorrow, former presidential candidate Dr. Besigye and his companion Obed Lutale return to the court-martial where they face charges related to national security and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. However, the matter has taken a hit in the stomach after the Law Council declined to offer a temporary practicing certificate to their lead lawyer Martha Karua. Besigye and Lutale were arrested in Kenya's capital Nairobi on 16th November, where they had gone to attend Martha Karua's book launch. They were first charged at the court-martial on 20th November and remanded to Luzira prison. They were again produced in the court-martial last week on Monday and further remanded. They are expected to return to court tomorrow. The Uganda Advocates Act requires that any foreign lawyer who wants to practice in Uganda must first acquire a temporary practicing certificate, which is granted by the Law Council. As a practicing lawyer in Kenya at the rank of a senior counsel, Karua was chosen by Besigye to be his lead lawyer. This means that Karua is required by law to first apply for the temporary practicing certificate, a thing she says she did about a fortnight ago. She was supposed to first represent Besigye and Lutale at the court-martial on Monday last week, but that was not possible because she had not received the temporary practicing certificate. Her fellow lawyers in the case requested the court-martial to adjourn the case to Tuesday 10th December so they can complete the application process and secure Karua's temporary certificate. But the Law Council has declined to grant Karua a temporary practicing certificate, meaning she will not be able to represent Besigye and Lutale as earlier expected.
You state that copies of my practicing certificate, letter of good standing, from the Law Society of Kenya were not notarized. And further, my nationality documents and academic qualifications were not attached.
The Law Council based on 9 reasons to deny Martha Karua a special practicing certificate. The most notable reasons are that the intention of bringing her on board to represent Kizza Besigye and Obeid Lutale is not purely professional, but it is tinged with a political agenda. Also, the Law Council stipulates that Martha Karua does not bring any special skills or knowledge that the contingent of legal practitioners in Uganda do not hold. The Law Council also observed that the power to admit a lawyer to practice temporarily in Uganda under the law is discretionary, not mandatory, and that Uganda is not yet a party to the Mutual Recognition Agreement to allow the free movement of legal practitioners to practice in the courts between Uganda and Kenya. Furthermore, the Law Council notes that the institution has not previously considered or granted an application to a legal practitioner from another country to appear in court in a criminal case, and that Martha Karua, while in Uganda, caused commotion at the Supreme Court on 3rd December 2024 alongside other lawyers, among them Arias Lukwago, and that her conduct was questionable from a professional perspective.
I will retreat with my colleagues who are local, because I think there are critical issues that are raised by the response by the Law Council, which actually go against the laws of Uganda and the East African Treaty, and we shall definitely be taking further action.
NTV sought out from the Law Council if there are some foreign lawyers intending to represent Besigye and Lutale who have applied for temporary practicing certificates. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Justice gave us the official response on behalf of the Law Council.
The procedure for granting a temporary license for an advocate is laid out in the Uganda Advocates Act, Cap 295. As of today, I am not aware of any other applications.
Daniel Kibet, NTV.
Nkwaniriza nze Dr. Muganzi ngenda kusaba subscribinga ate bakono omuntu kugabana naye emboozi eno nja kubebaza ora support je nfuna waneno nja kubebaza nti ate wano tugenda tukolawo family njagala ate nange kukuza kubako na muntu gwe inspiring out there tandika osobola kuba nawe nga information gy'ofunawo gigabana naffe ate tujja giwatchinga tujja kugigabana n'abantu abalala kikulu nnyo kubanga tubeera political awake mu bwongo gwanga tuli mu gwanga eryagibwako eddembe twagibwako civic education abasoma edde nnyo mwasoma ku somo lye bayita political education wetwogerera essaawa zino lyagibwawo lwaki nti ba dictators balaba nti we banaabeera n'eggwanga ng'abantu basobola okulowooza okutuukira ddala nga bwe balina okulowooza politically tebajja kulwako so kati bakola ki bajjawo ebiyambi yandibadde biyamba abantu bano kubanga bazuukuka mu bwongo bwabwe oli osangayo Munnayuganda agenda okugamba nze Museveni simulinaako buzibu yali ankoze eki ndya neebaka naye ng'akugamba alya emisana alya kikomando kya 5 olweggulo nanywa ekikomando n'akatunda nga ye alowooza obulamu bwe butyo bwe bulina okuba yagamba gavumenti endala ne bwe najja tegenda kumpa mulimu. That is bogus. Ffe tetulwanyisa Museveni nti twagala mirimu, no, wabula twagala eggwanga erina equal opportunities nti wookera ku makya n'ogenda ku URA ogenda kulabayo a resemblance of a national character, a nation that is sharing a cake. Ogenda sangayo Omusoga, Omuganda, Omucholi, Omulugwala, bonna Abanyankole, bonna Abakiga n'Abannarwanda nga bali awo bonna. National cake si kusanga abantu nga beefaanana, people that look like each other. Ogenda kuyiwala ogenda kufuluma osange ojja sanga abantu nga 5 nga bonna bava side emu. Osange mu babiri nga be batava side emu oli akugambe ogamba this person is tribal naye ate bana ababiri bakugamba omu Muganda omu Musoga kale n'owokusatu mu kyoli bali mu basatu abava mu kitundu ekimu. Naye ate tetugambye nti n'abo aba mu kitundu ekyo bo bali bulungi, no. Ne mu area ezo waliyo abantu ababonabona, waliyo Abanyankole ababonabona. Kati ate gwe Omunyankole abonabona ali eyo gw'obonabona mirundi ebiri, kozi eggwanga likunyiga mu ngeri embi, onfa mirundi ebiri nga manda. oyokyebwanga omuti ate n'oyokyebwanga amanda. Eggwanga ligenda kunyiga ngalyo ate n'abaana Uganda bamali bakunyige nga bagamba oli munyankolemu abatusibyeko enembeera. So kitegeeza ki? Njagala tubeere cautious, tutegere nti kagurupu kakundika abantu batini nnyo. Just Museveni ne bukroniezi bweru bantu batini nnyo, tebaweza na 1% abatufuga abatuyisiza mu mbeera enembi. So kikulu nnyo okukitegeera, kikulu nnyo okukitegeera. Bwe tunakitegeera tulina kulwanira wamu nga ggwanga. Museveni agenda. Museveni waana agwenda nkubulya ebyogenda okunyumirwamu genda kubeera mu ggwanga eryeyagaza, erina policies ennungi ku trade, ggwanga erina president oba lirina obukulembeze obufaayo, ogenda kubeera n'amalwaliro amalungi. Bazadde baffe batugambanga mu biseera byabwe nga Museveni tannafuuka president bagendanga mu ddwaliro nga n'omuntu azze okulabirira omulwadde alina bayitangayo batya oba mu kirwaza omuntu azze okulabirira omulwadde nga alina ne gyasula nga gwe omulwadde azze bagenda vaawo n'engoye endala ng'eddagala mu malwaliro mweriri naye genda mulago oba tolina ssente ogenda kuggyawo eddagala. Eryo ggwanga lye tulimu. Aspects zonna zigenda zifa mu buli environment. Lwaki? Museveni alowooza ye muntu asingayo okubeera omugezi. Kyova olaba atufukidde emyaka egenda kuweza myaka 4. Tatufuze kubanga mugezi, atufuze lwakubanga tetulina kye tukola nga ffe. But if we wake up as a nation and tubako kye tukola nga tetulinze kubaako muntu kutukolera kintu kimu oba kutuyambako kujjako Museveni. President Bobi Wine kino ekintu akitugambye ebbanga lyonna, atugambye teri muzungu agenda kujjako Museveni. Ensonga lwaki mumulaba atambula agenda mu nsi ez'enjawulo si nti lwakubanga ayagala abantu bano bajjeko Museveni, wabula batwalira message emu nti you people, we can fight Museveni if you stop funding him. Museveni agenda kubeera mwangu nnyo okulwanisa nga talina ssente zino, era ssente zisinga zigenda zimutemebwako. Omulaba kuza budgets kuzireconsideringa, ssente zisalibwa. Anyway, si ye topic ya conversation. Naye njagala nnyo tubeere awake. Nze Dr. Morgan, ngenda kusaba subscribinga ate tutandike. Tubadde twogera ku Martha Karua yamiddwa practicing license. After Martha Karua was denied the practicing license in Uganda, Kenya yazizza omuliro negamba nti nayo egenda kutaminatinga let me read for you the document. This document is by a woman that is called Faith Odhiambo. Odhiambo ye president of the Law Society of Kenya, yatwala Law Society ya Kenya. Ekipapula kiwanvu oba ekiwandiiko kiwanvu ngenda kusomera ku points ezisinga okubeera enkulu ku kiwandiiko kino. Nga bwe tugenda maaso nja kusaba subscribinga. Okay, it's here. We are going to start from here. Cognizant of our mandate under the Law Society of Kenya Act to protect legal practice in Kenya, it can no longer be acceptable or commonplace that we take outright disrespect lying down. According to Law Society of Kenya, we will be engaging the Attorney General immediately to bring the overdue impasse over cross-border practice to conducive end. We must either find a symbiotic, reciprocal or formal engagement that promotes the interests of all parties, that preserve the dignity of the Kenyan legal practice by withdrawing from the lopsided arrangement marred with non-committal and disintegrity. To further protect the integrity of legal practice in Kenya, the Law Society is actively considering to further protect the integrity of legal practice in Kenya. The Law Society of Kenya is actively considering, after necessary consultations, the suspension of admission of advocates from the Uganda Law Society until such a time as a reciprocal arrangement are appreciated and implemented. This measure, though regrettable, is necessary to hold the dignity and the equity of Kenyan legal practice. Martha yamiddwa practicing license. Abe Kenya nabo bagamba muba mwamye Martha practicing license naffe bannamateeka Kenya Uganda abali mu Kenya naffe tugenda kutaminatinga admission zaabwe. Uganda ne Kenya ziri mu mukago gwetibwa East Africa. Era gwe Uganda osobola okutambula n'ogenda e Kenya nga tolina visa. Okozesa national ID yo. Ogipresentinga wali ne bakulina kuzogenda okumalayo e Kenya. N'omuna Kenya kirizibwa. ID ye esokutwala e Rwanda, esokutwala e Kenya, esokutwala e Tanzania. Esobola okutwala ndowooza ne Sudan. Ne Sudan tewetaaga visa. Kasitoba ne national ID yo. So bannakenya bagamba engeri gye kiri nti mmwe muganya omu okukola mutyobodde eddembe lyaffe mutuyisizaamu amaaso. Martha e Kenya is not just a lawyer. Bamuyita senior counsel. She is a senior counsel. Y'omu ku bannamateeka abagundivu mu Kenya. Ensonga Uganda ze yawadde, Uganda Law Society ze yawadde okuma Martha practicing license bagamba nti omusango guno guli politically motivated gwayagala okuhandolinga. But guess what? Like a lawyer is, you know, me being a lawyer to somebody can be motivated by many things. One, it can be emotions, it can be finance, it can be politics. Kati ogenda gana muntu kuwolereza muntu nti lwakuba munnabyabufuzi nti gwe tugenda muwolereza oneye munnabyabu guno omusango gwa byabufuzi tugenda gwoza. It is dubious. Ne kati kino kikulaga sectors endala zonna bwe zigenze zifiira ddala. We talk about free trade when we can't have free professions working in Kenya and Uganda. Techikola makulu. If we are to have the East African community, I beg, we should be able to have Kenyans work in Uganda and Ugandans work in Kenya. Okitegeera. So ye ensonga eriwo era olunaku olw'eggulo Besigye yaleetedde mu kkooti n'agaana okusaba bail. Besigye akyaganidde ddala okusaba bail, agamba paka nga lead counsel we afunye practicing license ate kw'ossa okubanga ye tagenda kukkiriza kuwozesebwa mu kkooti y'amagye. So that is the update we have about Besigye, but we want to send a message to the government. President Bobi Wine yagamba nti there is going to come such a time you will wish that the law can come to your aid. Nti wagenda kubeerawo akaseera akagenda otuuka nga mwabali okukozesebwa gavumenti ya Mwami Museveni nga musaba kimu nga musaba busabi nti singa amateeka gasobola okujja gabayambe. Amateeka ge gamu ge muzanyiddemu okulemesa abantu abalala okufuna eddembe lyabwe. Kaipura yakirabako, Sejjusa yakirabako. Akaseera akagenda kutuuka weegomba ogambe kale singa nayogera ng'ebikyamu bikolebwa mu ggwanga, kale singa saasirika nga kino kigenda mu maaso. Nawe Munnayuganda aliyo, I told you some time back, time is going to come omunnamagye aveeyo oba omuntu yenna mu gavumenti aveeyo ng'ayagala ttaka lyo, bakukwate bakuteekeko ekisangwe, bakutryingire mu court martial, bakuume bail ogende okuvaayo emyaka 5 nga n'ekizimbe kyaggwa kye batadde ku ttaka lyo. Osirise ebyobufuzi tebikukwatako, right? Tufaayo ku ngeri gy'okulemberwamu. These are the repercussions we shall pay. Let's listen to President Bobi Wine's speech gye yakoze nga ate asisinkana abakulembeze ku parliament. Tukomewo tugianalyzing. Thank you.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, being the International Anti-Corruption Day, I was wondering what better place is it? And I'm glad that we have some of our comrades that are fighting aggressively against that corruption. We salute you, Honorable Senyonyi, and your team. I won't give further comments on the International Anti-Corruption Day. Just tell your speaker that I've dedicated this day to her. I salute you, colleague leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Fellow is very important engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 20th day of November, the nation woke up to the disturbing news of a cross-border abduction of Dr. Kizza Besigye and his colleague, Alhaji Obeid Kamulegeya. This was done in Kenya by Uganda's security operatives. It was done in violation of their rights and in utter violation of international law. They were then smuggled into Uganda discreetly, of course in violation of any known extradition processes. And although these two were not serving military men, they were arraigned before the General Court Martial in violation of the Constitution and in violation, in utter contempt of all the pronouncements of the Constitutional Court. As we all know, numerous times the Constitutional Court has made it clear that it's illegal to try non-soldiers, civilians in military courts. We, as a National Unity Platform, have been the biggest victims of these kangaroo courts before, during, and after the elections of 2021. Over 2,000 of our members and supporters were abducted and detained on the orders of either the unit disciplinary committees or the division court martials or the general court martial. Most of them were charged with ridiculous trumped-up charges of being found with military stores, literally referring to our red berets and red overalls. As we speak today, very many of them are still languishing in prison, 4 years and some more, without trial. Recently, all of us saw with shock how the regime forced and coerced some of our comrades to accept the offenses that they never committed. It was such a travesty of justice, and we call upon all Ugandans of good conscience to condemn it and continue condemning it. But before all this happened, you all remember that I was personally charged before the same court, the military court, and the regime presented 2 machine guns claiming that they were found in my hotel room in Karua. Of course, eventually the guns disappeared, and out of both international and local pressure, the charges were dropped. So when we speak about the oppression and the injustice in military courts, ladies and gentlemen, we don't just talk about it as academic knowledge. This is lived experience. We've been through it, and so many Ugandans continue to go through it. The court martial has been turned into a tool of oppression by General Museveni, because he has full control of it. He decides who gets charged in the court martial, what charges are preferred against that person, and who does or doesn't get bail from the court martial. He uses it to punish and intimidate his opponents, and we condemn that. Here we come together knowing that Dr. Kizza Besigye and Haji Obeid Kamulegeya cannot and will not get justice in that military court. We therefore jointly demand that Dr. Kizza Besigye's charges and Haji Obeid Kamulegeya's charges be dropped, and if they can't be dropped, let them at least be charged in a civilian court, because they are civilians. We demand that those charges, those bogus charges, be dropped against them. And I mean, looking at common sense, even if Dr. Kizza Besigye and his colleague were found with guns in Kenya, how does that become a monopoly? How do those guns become a monopoly, or even the business of the Ugandan military? We are aware that these charges in the court martial are meant to intimidate, coerce, and ultimately subdue the people of Uganda and their leaders, to stop them from challenging the corrupt system, the corrupt criminal regime of General Museveni. We are here to say to General Museveni that no amount of coercion, no amount of oppression, no amount of impunity will stop the people of Uganda from seeking better. And yes, no amount of intimidation will stop us from offering leadership to these people until we get to a country that we want to live in. Friends, so many dictators have done exactly, or even worse, to their people like Museveni has done to the people of Uganda. But history has taught us that they ultimately come crumbling down when people don't give up. From the dictators that we've seen in history, and yesterday it was Assad of Syria who has oppressed the people of Syria, him and his family, for more than 50 years. They came crumbling down yesterday. So yesterday Assad in Syria, and hopefully tomorrow it will be Museveni in Uganda. We ask the people of Uganda never to give up on hope, to keep fighting for what they rightly deserve, for keep pushing for liberation, because there's no doubt that their freedom is very soon coming. I want to thank you all for listening to me and request other colleague leaders to also give their comments. So it's my humble pleasure to invite you, General Mugisha Muntu, to kindly come and give your remarks. Thank you.
Yesterday Assad in Syria, and hopefully tomorrow it will be Museveni in Uganda. Omanyi bano bakyali mwe abatagobedde story ya Syria, bano bakyali bafugidde Syria myaka 5 of dictatorship. Tata ye yasooka okukulembera n'amala n'awa omwana we, tata we yasikamu n'awa omwana we. Naye kyabadde Syria, we are praying it happens in Uganda. Right? Nti bintu bingi ebyazuuliddwa mu operation eyakoleddwa Syria. Bankers mwe babadde batereka abantu, obutambi bufulumye nga bulaga engeri amakumira, nga oyinza osanga fulemu ng'eriko abantu 13,000. Ogenda osanga fule endala ng'eriko abantu 8. Bano abantu mumanyi bakola ki? Yagenda ku Twitter n'awandiika ku Museveni, yayogera ku Museveni ekigambo ng'ambo we Syria, yayogera ku mukyala we, yayogera ku mwana we, nga babakwata ne bababuzaawo. And the same thing is happening in Uganda. But President Bobi Wine has reminded us that there is nothing like the rise and rise of a dictator. No, tekiriyo. There is nowhere in the world where we have the rise and rise of a dictator. Okukula n'okukula kwa dictator. No, it is always the rise and fall of the dictator. It is always the rise and fall of the dictator. Nti bino byonna ultimately kasita tupo waffe nga bannayuganda tugenda kuwangula. Bino byonna okusomozebwa kuyinza okubeeramu okusibibwa, okuttibwa, naye tugenda zuula ebintu nga Museveni agenze. Bano bannabbanja mwe bonna enebolazi ba gavumenti eno, nammwe abagiwagira obuwagizi, nze nabagamba it is stupidity to support Museveni. Actually it is foolishness. That is, you can't tell me it is a choice to support Museveni. It is foolishness. You can't support a person that kills people. That is stupidity and foolishness. How on earth do you support a person that kills people? And you wake up and tell me, you know what, this is a choice the Constitution gives me. Fuck it. It is stupidity of the highest order for you to wake up and even feel proud of you being a M7 supporter. These people have oppressed us. They are the reason as to why you need to be paid to support them. Tunule muwandibadde waggwanga kiri wandibagadde okubeera mu ggwenga. Kale tugambe tokkiriziganya na Bobi Wine. tukkiriziganya na ba opposition members wetunule munga. The country at hand, is it the country we want to be in? Tunulemu. Tugenda kuzuula ba John Bosco Kibalama gye bali. Tugenda kuzuula the missing 19 people nabonna gye bali. Nga Museveni agenze. Emisango gye bateeka ku Olivia Lutaya tugenda gibajjako tugiteeke ku balina okubeera najjo. Nubian tugamba nti baddira misango gyabwe gye bakuteekako. But it's going to take us as a country to raise. I want to appreciate the leadership of Joel Senyonyi okubanga he thought it twice na leta abakulembeze bonna okuva mu opposition abenjawulo okujja okubaako ne bibye bateesa ku ngeri gye bagenda okuhandlinga issue ya Dr. Kizza Besigye. Nalabye abantu nga babuuza ate owaddi Democratic Alliance oyo ye buli kaseera ebintu bye bibaddengawo ebityo. But at the end of the day, it is Ugandans, we are not going to be saved by politicians. It is us, the common people, that have to raise. Talk whenever you can. You get a kuchichamu, because the chichamu chigenda sigara chichamu, sawa yonna. Obewe, ekiseera kyonna chigenda sigara chichamu. We need to raise, nga President bwagambye, obuli bw'enguzi obuli mu Parliament. Olugoye lumu Anita lwayambala lumala okuzimba block ya classrooms ku ssomero. Bukadde 10 yalwambala mu kiteeteeyi ekyo. Kiteeteeyi kya Anita amongu kimu. Bukadde 10. Kubamu akafaananyi kizimbe ki ekisobola oteebwawo bukadde 10. Kati wabanga alina ebiteeteeyi nga 2. Twalabayo foreigner eyazimba eddwaliro ku kawumbi kamu. Ekitegeeza alina ayambala amalwaliro 2. And we are quiet. People are being killed in the country and we are quiet. Abaana b'oku TikTok bawambibwa basibibwa buli lunaku just olw'okuba oli yayogedde ku mukyala wa Museveni, oli yayogedde ku muhoozi omutamiivu. Kati nzirawo ndowooza oba muno kyali kivumo ky'omuntu kyasobola n'okunvuma n'ekinyiiza. Nze sirabayo na kivumo ky'oyinza n'akunvuma n'ekinyiiza. Nekino kankyogere newoovuma maama waakyo. Kati ovaayo n'oŋŋamba maama we alinga embwa. Ntunuulira bwenti nze wemba ndaba simbwa. Tulina ngeri gy'ogenda kunkakasa nti alinga mbwa. Tekitegeeza nti maama wange sisobola kumulwanya naye ntegeera nti olina eddembe ly'okubeera omusisi. Nze Dr. Mugan nzigenda kusaba subscribinga twegeko olundi.